Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, Sonic from SEGADriven.com, and welcome back to our Sonic Amateur Games Expo 2020 coverage. In this video, we're looking at the latest demo of the 16-bit remake of Sonic the Hedgehog Triple Trouble, developed by Noah Copeland. Now, the last time we saw this was not at Sage. Actually it came out a little bit after, in November of 2019. It was, the very first demo of Sonic Triple Trouble by Noah Copeland, and we were quite impressed with it. It's a lovely, loving 16-bit remake of the original 8-bit Sonic Triple Trouble. Expands it quite dramatically. The scope is obviously a lot larger, and yeah, it's a really impressive little development, and nothing has changed since then. I'm still really impressed with it. I think it's a lovely little thing. I love the way it directly connects to the end of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and carries over that sort of aesthetic style, so it very much looks like Sonic 3 and Knuckles 2 almost, if you wanted to call it something like that. But yeah, it's a lovely looking thing. It has the same sort of screen resolution and graphical style, and it plays just as good as a 16-bit Sonic game as well. Stage design is absolutely solid as well. Can't fault it in that regard. I think it's got the perfect balance of nice precision platforming and then a nice speedy reward for doing well in the said platforming section. And yeah, that's not changed at all. The problem with this demo, especially if you played the last one, is it is massively familiar to the original one. The only thing that's kind of new to this that I really noticed is an entirely new stage, and even then it's only a single act of said stage. So in this demo we get the same opening section and the same 2 acts of Great Turquoise. So yeah, and they're both, you know, fantastic acts, really worth playing. They haven't got any worse since the last demo, so yeah, if anything, still worth playing for these 2 acts of that first stage. But the new stuff is basically a single act of a Meta Junglera, and yeah, it's very much in keeping with the way the first 2 acts of the demo work. It's, you know, a loving 16-bit version of an 8-bit game, expanded with some new gimmicks, and basically sort of riffing on the same aesthetic style as the 8-bit stages, but, you know, fleshing it out with more detail, and the stage design is a little bit more dynamic. There's a lot more what you'd expect from a traditional 16-bit Sonic game, so more loops, more gimmicks, more things to interact with, and yeah, it looks fantastic. I love the huge amount of multi-layered parallax scrolling backgrounds. I think they are very much in keeping with a 16-bit Sonic game. You just can't fault it, to be honest with you. Like I say, the only thing that I really can put against this is the fact that it's pretty much the same thing again, but with 1 new act, which is fine. I'm glad there's something new here to experience, but there's not a lot of new stuff here to experience. So yeah, if you haven't played the original Sonic Triple Trouble demo by Noah Copeland, then this is the one to get, because there's the most content in this at the moment. But at the same time, I think you might be a little bit disappointed if you had played the November demo from last year, because there's not a lot here. But that's all I'm going to say on this, because I still think it's a fantastic development. I'm loving how this is developing. I think it's fantastic. I think it plays really well. I think it looks great, and it's still entirely worth your time. It is, again, one of the highlights of the show. Obviously it didn't feature last year, so this being its first appearance, it definitely earns the right to be a highlight of this year's Sage.